What is going on, you guys? So, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I was originally going to start out with having this conversation more about everybody always asks what it's like to date a porn star. Or am I single? Am I married? Am I divorced? Am I in a relationship? And all that. So, I figured this would be the time to actually sit down and just be open and straightforward. And I don't have to keep answering the question. I will just refer to this video. So, I am divorced. I was married 19 years. I have 3 very grown children. I had my daughter at 18. I had my son at 21 and then my youngest at 23. So, although I am a grandmother and there is nothing wrong with being a grandmother, I am proud of being a grandmother. I hate to be referred to as granny. So if you call me granny, because I'm not an old bitch, I'm just old. So stop referring to old women in a derogatory manner because I still mess around with guys that are in their 30s, and I have a humongous amount of respect and fans in their 20s. So the same respect that I give people, I prefer to have it back. If you call me a granny, I just kind of 86 you, put you in the garbage pail. Now with that, I have been in long-term relationships. I have been in short-term relationships. I dated a younger guy before I got into porn, but I was still doing adult work. I was doing custom videos and all that stuff. Dated him for 2 years. Dated a guy before that while I was going through a divorce for 2 years. Unfortunately, I, like many women, had dated the married guy when I first got out of a relationship with the baseball player. Because again, after my divorce, and I was still going through the divorce when I dated the baseball player, when I asked him if he was married, single, or divorced, his response was complicated. Learning from my experience in 2003 with the married guy, and not complicated, but the married guy, I don't want to date a married guy. I don't want that in my personal life. What I do as studying summer is a whole different ball of wax than what I do in my personal life, so to speak. So, with that said, I get so many emails that constantly say, I saw your picture, I'm different than the other guy. You know, I love you guys, and I know everybody is a complete different individual. I'm not the same as any other porn star. Everybody thinks that every porn star is a psychopath, a sociopath, either sex crazed, or we're drug addicts, or we're dumb as shit, or whatever. I don't fit any of that mold. Like, I'm not a drug addict. I don't really do drugs. I barely smoke weed from time to time, and that was when I was having a lot of hip pain. I don't drink a lot. When I do drink, I enjoy, but I don't drink to have a hangover. I don't drink to cope. I go to the gym to cope. How about this? So, just because you know Stunning Summer, and she's somewhat derived from a little bit of my personality. I'm not a subservient woman, but I'm also not a dominant woman. I believe in give and take, and that has always been the fire and the fierce that I shoot my videos with. Passion, I love passionate sex. I love romantic sex. When fans ask me what is my fantasy, everybody thinks that because I'm a porn star and whatnot, that they think, oh, she must fantasize about having gangbangs and this and that. I do gangbangs to fulfill my fans' fantasies and what you guys like to watch. That's not my fantasy. My fantasy is to find the actual guy that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with that wants to have romantic dinners. When you hear Vanessa Bryant speak of her relationship with Kobe Bryant, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the guy that celebrates Valentine's Day every day. I want the guy that says, okay, I'm going to draw her a bubble bath because she worked really hard today, but one who's not intimidated by the adult industry. That is the hardest part ever, because even the guys that come to me who say, I want to date you, I want to marry you, you're my future wife, they don't understand what it's like to be in a public place and have somebody walk up to your table and say, oh my God, Summer, can I have an autograph? Can I take a picture? That happens from time to time. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens from time to time. People are going to do rude shit things, period. Can you handle that? Can you handle the guy who's going to email me and say, I want to fuck you in your ass, I want to do this and that, and, it's part of the territory, and you have to be able to handle that. A lot of men say that they can until they do. Everybody knows I was in a horrible, bad relationship. I can't even just say toxic doesn't even describe the physical and mental abuse and battering that I undertook for 7.5 years. People go, oh my God, Summer, you're so smart and you're so brilliant. Why? I can tell you that more reasons than not of how women get attached to the abuse. As sick as that sounds, you're almost, I spent about 4 years before I really thought about dating per se again. I mean, I would go out on dates, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to find me again because I had lost myself in the 11 years of coming to DC. It was the worst decision I have ever made in my entire life. And I got trapped into a relationship that actually, like, I looked in the mirror and saw myself disappeared. That was not me I was looking at in the mirror. This man would slap me in the face at 4 o'clock in the morning driving a car. Or he would be driving in the car with Sonya Blaze in the back seat and reach across and slap me in the face. I can't tell you how many times this man destroyed my house, cut furniture, cut beds, and I still stayed. So I had to find out what made me do that. And there's still some parts of me that just can't even put the key together to go, wow, like what? Most of the rational I can figure out was I had moved so far away from my family, and I had changed my money depended upon me staying on the East Coast. I'd moved back home to the West Coast for a while. The girls on the West Coast are broke as shit. Like, I'm not even going to lie. The porn industry on the West Coast, because of the huge amount of adult entertainers now, and the way that the platforms are set up, everybody's shooting porn. Your next door neighbor's shooting porn, and so there's only so much of those billions of dollars that can go around. So I had to come back to the East Coast, and for whatever reason, my dumbass took him back, and again, probably the second worst decision I had ever made. So I needed to fix all that before I was going to even remotely think about going into another relationship, because I don't believe, I think in a relationship, and I shouldn't even say think, science says it, that, you need two whole bodies together to have a solid relationship. If one person is broken and the other one is not, it still isn't going to equal a great relationship. So I'm not wasting any more time on some bullshit. I'm over 50, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a situation that I was in before. And again, all the worst things. I mean, I literally blew through my savings living with that guy. And I just barely got my savings going back up when my hip blew out. So at this point, I'm working on my money. I've spent 5 years working on myself. She's back. But with all of that, even though I'm back, it's still hard for me to find a guy. Like, I was really into a guy recently that I met him like over 4 years ago, and I still had, the gut feeling says this dude either has a girlfriend or he's married. He swore to God, I'm not, I'm divorced. I've been divorced since 2013. Da 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 da. I kind of dropped it. He came back in the picture. He was kind of like, hey, I've been thinking about you, da da da. And it's like, sometimes things are too perfect too. And if it's too perfect, and I say this all the time, and I have to follow, and especially because again, I had to learn from that bad experience of how to actually, what would you say, like, how to recognize signs. If you don't adhere to the same advice that you give other women too, I'd be an idiot. So I tell women all the time, especially in an era of catfish and dating sites, that guys are really not who they um, say they are. And there's a quote I had actually gave one of my girlfriends, which I think about all the time, is that be who you pretend to be. So if I meet a guy and I think, oh damn man, he's hot, he's got things going on, I would be interested in getting to know him or whatever. I don't lie. I let him know I'm stunning summer. Like, this is it. Even if I found the right guy and I chose never to film again, that I would still be a director, I would still be a producer. I'm never going to give up my life anymore like I was willing to do for the rotten guy. Good guys accept you for who you are when they met you, and vice versa. So I thought this guy is like way too perfect, but he always quote unquote works, 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 works. The other thing about a relationship is that you have got to be willing to sacrifice some stuff to say, hey, I'd rather have the guy that works his ass off than the guy that's a bum. But if you're not, and again, even though you have children, if you're trying to have a relationship with somebody, that person has to be somewhat of a priority. And I wasn't feeling like this guy was making me a priority, which put me back in my headspace back where the bad guy was. So I had to Google, and all I could find was that the guy was still married. Yep. And he called me crazy. Oh, see, this is why I can't. And he had all the excuses. Dude, let me say that is exactly what married guys do. So when, you all know your girl, I keep everything 100. I said, were you just conversating with me just because I'm a distraction? And he tried to do that, well, I've never even watched any of your porn. I've never Googled you. I've never blah, 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 blah. I've heard all that. Do I believe him? No. Nope. Especially for when I think back that, he had contacted me 4 years ago when I was selling the body wraps, and he and had seen an advertisement. And when he went to Google the body wraps, my website for the body wraps had came up. So that was how he had contacted me. But I wasn't sure, especially for the fact that a lot of men don't use the word stunning. And, 6 months or 3 months or so into it, he had said, we were sending pictures back and forth or whatever. And when he said, you are simply stunning, bells and whistles went off. And I was like, this guy knows who I am. I don't want to date a fan. I don't want somebody who starts out as a stunning summer fan The guy that I'm going to have a relationship with wants to know me, not what I can do on film, because I do that less than 1% of the time. I'm a personal trainer, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm way more than just a fucking in the bed or my amazing blowjobs. So, that being said, the whole point of this video was to say, you know, just because I shoot porn, that's my job. If I was a garbage man, I don't bring garbage home. If I was a doctor or a lawyer, I don't bring my work home. So again, I'm a porn star. Studying Summer stays at the door. I come home, take a shower, and wash Summer off, and I am actually me, sitting around with my roommates and the dogs and having a great time and conversating. Porn never comes up in my day-to-day life unless I'm checking my emails or booking tours or something like that. So that is the point that, every porn star who's single talk about that the frustration of we all want to have a relationship, and people always go, well, that's what you get basically for shooting porn. Everybody fucks. Like, stop that. Like, stop saying because, would you say, well, okay, baseball and football players get paid to play ball. Do you think that, okay, well, they have it coming, all the groupies and all that stuff, and all the people who want to use them for their money or their influence or their platforms, well, they deserve that. No, everybody deserves respect. Everybody deserves respect. The disrespect that we tend to get is from the people who are the most critical of the porn industry in the first place. Those are people who wouldn't respect you anyway, period. So that becomes the biggest problem of trying to find a relationship, is because, again, everybody thinks that just because I do that one particular job that defines me. Porn does not define me. And for the men who go, well, I want to date a porn star, that statement in itself gives you the X factor, because I'm not dating as the porn star. Whoever I date has to accept the porn star, but I'm not dating the guy who wants to date the porn star. I used to always feel like when I first got into the business, part of the first thing that you have to learn how to do is to take all that negativity and everybody's going to throw at you, and you have to actually be able to just brush it off. So I used to think all the time, we had society and fans all coming in. I felt like a hunted animal, actually. And I'm not the only one who said it. Even my baby girl, Sonia Blaze, always said, like, they hunt us down like fucking animals. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do I know that? I know that is the reason why some of our young starlets have committed suicide. There are days that even the strongest of us, myself included, go, oh my God, it just doesn't stop. A hunted animal. So for you to say, I want to date you, Stunning Summer, I feel like a fucking animal. You're not respecting me. That is not, please respect the boundary. Know the boundary. Know the boundary. The boundary is, I love my fans, and I'm probably one of the most down home girls when it comes to responding to my fans, because I know and I highly respect that without the fans, there would not be 18 years later still Stunning Summer doing doing some good things. So with that, nah, I'm not dating fans. I love you. I will meet you. I will hang out with you. I am able to shoot videos with you, but I'm not dating you. So with that, be kind, be good humans, and pay it forward. Namaste.